The battle over the emergency generator. It was a Tuesday evening, and I was sipping lukewarm coffee, staring at a powerless TV screen flickering with static, when a scream pierced the quiet outside my window. "Shut that monstrosity off." My neighbor, Evelyn Harper, president of the Pinewood Estates HOA, stood in my yard, pointing at the generator humming beside my barn. Before I could respond, flashing lights lit up my gravel driveway. 5 police officers, 2 code enforcers, and a firefighter marched toward me like I'd ignited a citywide blackout. One officer, hand on his holster, asked, "Sir, are you aware you're operating an unauthorized generator?" I handed him a laminated card from the county. His eyes widened, and he muttered, "Well, this is awkward." In that moment, Evelyn realized she'd called 911 on the county's emergency equipment and the real storm was just beginning. 2 days earlier, a brutal storm had ravaged Willow Valley, knocking out power, flooding roads, and snapping cell towers like twigs. My property, a modest acre on a rise just outside Pinewood's HOA limits, was one of the few dry spots left. The county's emergency management office called me directly. They needed a stable site for a mobile generator to power hospitals, sheriff stations, and flood response teams. My land, elevated and accessible, was perfect. I agreed no payment, just a sense of duty. By dawn, a matte green generator the size of a small trailer was parked on my old concrete slab, county decals gleaming. A portable comms tower stood beside it, relaying critical signals. My job? Keep the area clear and report any issues. Simple enough, I thought. Then Evelyn showed up. She didn't knock. She stormed across my property line in her sensible loafers, clutching a clipboard like a weapon. "This generator violates every HOA code," she snapped, though my land wasn't under her jurisdiction. I explained it belonged to the county, not me, and suggested she call them. Her eyes narrowed, and she marched off, muttering about property values. I figured she'd cool off. Instead, she dialed 911, claiming I was running illegal industrial equipment and endangering the neighborhood. When the response team arrived, I stood on my porch, arms crossed, as a firefighter named Tom, a volunteer I knew from town, patted the generator. "Yep, counties," he said. Evelyn's face twisted. "He said it was his," she insisted. I laughed. "No," I said, "call the county." The officers checked my paperwork, apologized for the mix-up, and left. Evelyn stormed off, but I knew this wasn't over. The next morning, I found my breaker panel tampered with, lock broken, switches flipped, cutting power to the comms trailer. County techs fixed it in an hour and installed a camera system. Evelyn doubled down, filing a state complaint claiming I was siphoning county power for personal use. A state inspector arrived, took one look at the county decals, and chuckled. "Someone's got too much time," he said, stamping my clearance. Then came a forged letter from the fire marshal demanding I decommission the generator. The signature was fake, the letterhead outdated. The real fire marshal, who lived 3 houses down from Evelyn, confronted her himself. She slammed the door in his face. The county had had enough. They declared my property an official emergency support zone, warning the HOA against further interference. A memo went out to local media, the sheriff, and best of all, Evelyn's doorstep. Her curtains twitched, but she didn't emerge. I added a sign, "County Emergency Equipment Authorized Personnel Only." For 3 days, silence held. Then a black SUV rolled up. 2 men in sharp suits, claiming to be environmental compliance officers, cited a 10-page complaint about fuel storage and contamination risks. I showed them the county permits and called the emergency management director, who confirmed everything was above board. The men left, but one nodded toward Evelyn's house as they did. A quick search revealed their agency was a private firm, likely hired by Evelyn to manufacture trouble. Her next move? A lawsuit. She sued me in small claims court for negligence, nuisance, and emotional distress, claiming the generator had devalued her home and traumatized her pet cockatoo, complete with a photo of its molting feathers. The judge, a no-nonsense man, barely hid his amusement. I presented my evidence, permits, photos, security footage of a hooded figure attempting to cut the generator's cables, and a news clip praising my role in the recovery. Evelyn's face paled as the judge reviewed the sabotage video. "Are you aware, Miss Harper, that tampering with emergency equipment is a felony?" he asked. Her mouth opened, then shut. Case dismissed. He warned her against further retaliation. But Evelyn wasn't done. A week later, my cameras caught a teenager spray painting the generator's county decal. The sheriff traced the paint to a store near Evelyn's house. Then, the generator's fuel line was sliced clean through another felony during a disaster declaration. Footprints led toward Pinewood. The county filed charges, suspecting Evelyn had coerced someone to act on her behalf. Soil samples from her porch matched residue near the fuel line. The sheriff visited her, and for the first time, she looked defeated, arms crossed, jaw tight. The HOA board, led by a quiet retiree named Walter, voted Evelyn out as president. Her access to records and authority was revoked. Neighbors whispered about her unraveling her desperate emails accusing me of county cover-ups and surveillance drones. One attached a blurry photo of a hawk. She tried starting a rival HOA. No one joined. Finally, she sold her house and vanished in a moving van at dawn. The new owners, a young couple with a toddler, brought life back to the property. Walter took over as HOA president, replacing Evelyn's newsletters with town halls and open votes. The bylaws were amended to limit any one person's power. The county decommissioned the generator that fall, leaving my pasture quiet. They sent a certificate of appreciation, and my name appeared in a local paper as a community hero. I joined a safety advisory board, sharing what I'd learned. Months later, an unmarked envelope arrived with a typed note. The generator wasn't the enemy. I was. No signature, but I knew Evelyn's voice. I filed it with my permits, not as a trophy, but as proof that truth catches up. That summer, Pinewood held its first cookout in years. Kids played, burgers grilled, and a karaoke machine blared off-key. Neighbors thanked Minute just for the generator, but for standing firm. They'd lived under Evelyn's thumb, afraid to park an extra car or leave out a trash bin. I hadn't just fought for my land. I'd loosened her grip on them all. As I sat on my porch that evening, coffee in hand, the valley hummed with power, birds sang, and the fence I'd built stood strong. No more forged letters. No more threats, just peace earned through stubborn truth. What do you think about this story? Have you ever faced someone abusing power or seen an injustice spiral out of control? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Was Evelyn a tyrant, or was she just misguided? Should the county have pressed charges? Let's hear your take on power, justice, and standing up for what's right.